Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel for a monthly making podcast. This is a time where I take to go over all the things that I have been working on this past month. For those of you who might be new, my name's Marina and I am the creator and owner of Pineapple Yarn, which is a hand-dyed yarn company here in coastal South Carolina. So this month has been insane. It's been so busy. And usually I've been trying to put out a video a week just to show you what I've been working on, and not like a making podcast, but like a process video of like everything that goes into the items that I put in the shop, the things that I'm making, dyeing yarn, winding, those types of things. And I haven't done any videos this month, which is, yeah. It's been a really busy month with all good things. It's good things, but it's been really busy. I put my advent calendar pre-orders up in the shop, and so I have been busy dyeing those, and I'm about maybe a quarter of the way done dyeing those, which is great. I love getting a head start on those. But anyway, enough about that. Let me show you what I have been working on. The first thing that actually the only thing I finished this whole month was a pair of socks. And I showed you these last month as a work in progress, but I finished them. Of course, I didn't bring a sock blocker, but these are beautiful. These were just so much fun. These are, the main body of the sock is Cooler Than a Pack of Peppermints by Kirby Werby, who is a fellow South Carolina yarn dyer, and she's so great. Like, if you've not seen her self-striping yarn, it's amazing. It's so beautiful. But I don't know if you can see this, this has a couple of different mint stripes in here. And then I paired it with a leftover from my February 2025 colorway. So this is Pineapple Yarn February 2025, and these are hybrid socks. And so what I did is I knit, actually you can see my sock machine right back behind me. So I knit tubes of this main body of the sock on my sock machine, which is an Erlbacher Gearhart Speedster. And then I did afterthought heels, I added cuffs, toes, all of those things. So I will add more details below in case you're interested. But I did get these to match, which was challenging because the stripes are so far apart. And so for my length of foot, what I needed to do is put a stripe maybe about where this white and black colors are, but I don't know, I wanted to split this whole stripy motif in half. So I don't think I'm going to keep these. I will gift them to someone who has a little bit larger foot size, larger shoe size than me. So for the cuffs, I did a knit to purl to on a US 2.25 millimeter. I use Addy needles for all of my knitting. And this is 60 stitches around. So that is how I knit all these. I did Jeny's surprisingly stretchy bind off on the top. And then the heel and the toe are exactly the same. This is a true afterthought heel, so I actually pick up and then cut in for the heel, and it is just your really basic short row heel. So decreasing on each side of both needles every other round. And I knit all of these magic loop as well. So I end up with 16 stitches on each needle, or 32 altogether, and then I do the Kitchener stitch, do a graft them together. And the same thing for this toe. It's exactly the same as the heel. So isn't that funny how these are the same? I just think that's so cool. But that's how I knit all of my socks normally. Aren't these pretty though? I thought these are so fun. And you know what was really cool is I just made an offhanded comment one day to one of my kids about how neons, whites, and my yarn that I dye because I use so much neon, they glow in the dark under a black light, or they glow in a black light, and they had no idea. And so we have had so much fun. I bought a black light, a really inexpensive one, and we take it into a little tiny room and turn all the lights off. And I had these in my knitting basket. And the really neat thing is that even though you can't see these stripes so well, even in person, they're very, very subtle. 2 of these stripes glow under a black light and 2 don't. So it was kind of like a secret message in the socks. So that was really fun. So these will go into my gift box, and I think these would be so fun for the holidays, or even, it doesn't even have to be for that. They're very kind of Christmas yarn, Christmas colors, but it doesn't have to be. It could be for whenever. So that was really fun. And I actually, I don't always do this, but I took the entire cake of yarn, the entire 100 grams, and wound the whole thing. So I cranked a sock tube that's really quite long. So I just took what I needed for my socks, but I still have this much left over, which is pretty, this is a lot of yarn. I didn't weigh it, so I'm not exactly sure how much this is, but definitely it'd be enough for a pair of socks. So I probably used about 50 grams, I would say. So that was really fun, and I was really glad to get a pair of socks done. I have been, I guess at the beginning of the year, even at the end of 2024, I had been knitting a lot of socks, a lot. And I think it was just, you know, being indoors and it was colder. I always feel like my knitting wanes a little bit when it gets warmer. I should tell you what I'm drinking. I am drinking Puka Peace tea. I really like this tea. And if you got, if you're able to get one of the January Crafting Calm kits, it's a kit that I put together in January. It was such a nice kit. I really enjoyed putting that together. But I included a few tea bags of this kind, and it's so great. It's a really nice, subtle tea. It's really good. So I have a few left over, and I've been sipping on it here and there. And then this is a beautiful mug. I always talk about this mug. It's my favorite mug. I use it every day, at least once, usually several times a day. And it's from Rachel Potts, and she is an amazing maker. And I'm so excited because I have quite a large order into her, and she will be, let's see, I will have them most likely for June's update. So the beginning of June, I will have some more of these. So exciting. So let's see, what else am I working on? I have I'm sitting in my chair, I have my loom behind me, and I have things on the floor. So that's what we're doing today. This is a cardigan that I started for my daughter, who is 9. And it is, I think it's called Ellen's cardigan. Let me look at my notes. Yes, it's called Ellen's cardigan. It's by Petite Knit. And I am knitting this in a pineapple yarn colorway lemon. It is going to be so bright on camera, but look how cute this is so far. I mean, this is yellow. It does not look this yellow in person, but I think it looks really yellow on camera. And I'm knitting it with our new base, which is Neon Confetti DK. And there's all these beautiful tweedy effects that are neon. So this is actually another project I had in my knitting basket when we went and we were looking at things under a black light. And so the body of the sweater did not glow, but all of these glowed, which was so cool. It looked like stars. It was really, really pretty. So far, this is a very simple cardigan. It's a top-down raglan construction, and the button band is built in. One interesting thing with this is that you go back and actually put the buttonholes in after you knit the sweater. So that will be interesting. I've never done that before. I haven't felt super motivated to work on this, to be honest. I think because I know that she's not going to wear it for a long time. It is too warm here. It's really quite warm here. And I mean, we're looking at maybe the end of October or into November when it would be cool enough for her to comfortably wear. And even then it's a stretch. You're just wearing a sweater then because it's fall and you want it to feel like fall. So I have split for the sleeves. I bought some of this cord. They call it barber cords. And I bought a whole spool of it, I think on Amazon. And it is such a game changer. I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but I always just use scrap yarn for my, you know, just to hold stitches. But I have been using this and it is wonderful. I mean, it's just so nice, such a luxury to have. So if I remember, I'll link it below. But I have this pretty lavender and I just think it's so pretty against the yellow. So anyway, I'm just kind of slogging along here. Another thing that's kind of slowing me down is that it is generally one row of knit, and then you flip it around, one row of purl. So it's not just a stockinette sweater where you can just knit and knit and knit. So it might turn into one of those things where I have to work on it a certain number of minutes a day just to get it done, because I don't really want to work on it right now. So I have a lot of things on my needles right now, and for me, I feel like I have a lot, and I really don't want to work on any of them. I do have another pair of socks that I am working on, and actually I do like these. I just, once I get started on the knitting, whatever it is, once I get started on it, it's like, it's comfortable and I enjoy it, but it's, I'm not just itching to work on it. And I think because it's warm here. I did start on another pair of hybrid socks. And this is called, I think this colorway is called Serendipity. It's from Tia's Terrific Threads, who is another amazing self-striping yarn dyer. And I think she does generally, I have noticed in her yarns, I think she does 2, 3, 4, maybe an 8 stripe repeat. And so when I have quite a bit of her yarn, and when I crank the tubes to knit hybrid socks, I generally crank 8 sets of her stripes, if that makes sense. So 64 stripes, and then I just divide that in half. So far what I have is I have a toe, and that needs to be grafted together. That is the colorway Princess from Pineapple Yarn. And I thought it looked really nice with these stripes. And I've got this cute little teacup charm that is with our Camellia Tea Time knitting kit. I do have a few of those in the shop, but it's this cute porcelain teacup. I love this charm. This has been my favorite charm of all lately. And then I've also finished on the other end a knit 2 purl 2 cuff, 15 rounds, Jeny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. And you can see my needles that I'm using here. Addy Rockets, 2.25 millimeter. So it's kind of in between a 0 and a 1. I think they call a size 1 is like a 2.5 millimeter. So what I do with her stripes, usually with socks, what I'll do is I'll knit 2 cuffs and then split this, and then I'll knit 2 toes. But if I want the stripes to be matching, I can't do that, as you can see. So what I'll do at this point, once I graft these stitches together, I'll just count 4 of the stripe repeats, which will probably be about there, and then I'll just split it off and do a toe on this sock, and then this will be the second sock, and I'll put a cuff on it, and that's that. I know I've promised a video to show you how I do these things, and I need to just sit down and finish it. I'm almost done, but I feel like it's a long process because it's filming knitting, not that I have to film the entire process of knitting, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. The other thing that I've been working on that's been taking a long time, I feel like it's just a slog, is my prayer shawl or lap robe. And I've been doing these here and there just to provide emotional, physical, spiritual comfort for people. Something different to do and just a nice way to give back, I think. So this is how far I've gotten on this. This is crocheted, and I talked about this last month. I'll link the pattern below. I think it was supposed to be a baby blanket. This is a ripple stitch. It's kind of like a feather and fan, but for crochet. I'm using an H hook on this, and the yarn, this is how much of the cake I have left. And that's my second cake. This is Lion Brand yarn, Mandala Ombre. And the colorway is Balance. So I generally use 3 of these. Like I said last week, I kind of have, this is acrylic yarn, and I do that just because it's easy to care for. People can wash and dry it, and you don't have to worry about, it's just easy care yarn. I think it's kind of fun to use other brands of yarn and bases and fibers and just kind of figure out what's going on in the yarn world. But I like this because it's bright and you don't have to worry about the stripes. They just happen on their own. The only thing about this yarn is that it's a little splitty, and I did talk about this on my last podcast, but whatever, it is what it is. I think it's really interesting, this yarn. It almost looks airbrushed. So it's like they have, I don't know if you can see that, how the yarn is not saturated through. And it's just colored on the like the top, the outsides of the strand of yarn. I think that's kind of interesting. Don't they do that? They do that with like if you're at the supermarket and you see cupcakes or something, sometimes you'll see a color like airbrushed. I kind of feel like that same that same technique's been used for this yarn. And I can't find my hook now. I had lost my hook for weeks. I could not find it, and I finally found it. We have a basket in the living room that we keep several blankets in, and it was in the bottom of that basket. I have no idea how it got there. I think it must have just, because I do have some other crocheted blankets, and I think that it got hooked on one of those blankets, and then it just got into the basket. So I'm actually holding this in my small project basket with a handle. These are available in the shop now, and I really like this one. It's my shawl's getting a little big for this size of basket, but it's fine. I really like this one. So that is all that I'm working on right now. I really have hanging over my head my big crocheted blanket that I've worked on for quite a while now. I think I started it, it's gotta be almost 2 years that I've been crocheting granny squares, and then it's like a join as you go method. And I'm joining all of these squares with an undyed yarn, and it's taking forever. So I went through all of my leftovers, my mini skeins, everything I was using for that blanket, and I have crocheted all the squares. So I have so many squares, I need to add them to the blanket. Now it's starting to get warm and I don't want to have a blanket on my lap. So I think I need to just put it away and not worry about it, because I don't want to work on things I don't want to work on. And if something is hot and I don't want to work on it. So I think I need to just put it into a closet or somewhere where I'm not going to worry about it. I know I'll finish it someday and I want to finish it. Maybe it's just a not right now project. But that is really all that I have that I've been working on. I have other things I want to cast on, but I'm not going to. So I have been working so much on my loom. So as you can see, this is my loom right behind me. This is a Schacht baby wolf loom. I love it so much. I work on it every single day, and I think that's part of why my knitting is suffering, is because I've been working on this so much, and I have enjoyed it immensely. I can see why people spring for like the more expensive looms. Like I have a dream loom. I know what my dream loom is, but for right now, I am so thrilled to have this loom, and I love that it's small. It's a really small loom. I don't think it would be very comfortable if you were a taller person, to be honest, though they do have a height extension, but it's really nice. I really like it. I will be uploading some weaving videos just showing the process of me going through it. But I wanted to show you a couple of projects that I finished on it. So my first one, I think I showed you this warp maybe. But this is some tea towels that I made. Tea towels, kitchen towels, they're the same. And I did some lavender and pink and gray and white motifs. So they're perfectly functional, and they were a great beginning project because I know exactly what I wanted to do differently the next time. So here's the first one. And when I was weaving these, I was just playing with all like different stripes and seeing how colors interacted. The one problem I was having was with selvages, so you can see the selvage is just not, it's a little wrinkly, or, it's not perfect, but that's okay. Just practicing on those. So there's the first one. I was really surprised, or I've been surprised when I'm weaving, how much of my rigid heddle loom years of practice have crossed over into a floor loom, and it has made the transition so much easier than if I was starting from scratch on a floor loom. That'd be quite the learning curve. Aren't these so pretty though? I really, really like these. I think they're just so pretty. They're not perfect, but they are very functional. And they were definitely a great first practice round. I've thought about putting a couple of these in the shop because I don't want all the lavender tea towels. I'm gonna have so many kitchen towels because that's all I want to weave. Let me know if you'd like to see some of these in the shop, because I think they would be fun to share with you. I want to show you some cool things that happen with weaving that don't necessarily happen with a rigid heddle loom. So at the front of the loom, there is a reed, and that is what you pull back and you push all of your threads back with. And you can get different effects by threading all of your warp threads through there in different ways. So for me, I was weaving these at 18 ends per inch, and that just means there's 18 strands of thread for every inch. And I didn't have a reed that would allow for an even 18 ends per inch. And so I had to kind of do maybe 2 strands through one slot and then 1 strand through another slot. But it gives this effect. Can you see the lines? Like, especially you can see in here. And I love that. I think that just made such a beautiful effect and just unique, and it's handmade, and you'll never have another one that looks like that. How cool is that? And then you can see, I don't know if you can see on camera, there's a line that runs right here, and that is where I didn't follow the same pattern. I didn't follow the same, I don't know if it was like 2, 1, 2, I can't remember what pattern I followed. I don't even remember what size reed I used, honestly. This was my first project, but you can see a line going through there. It's very, like well woven. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it adds that little nuance, and I just think that's so cool. Likewise, right here, I put 2 mini threads on through one slot of the reed, and you can see this line right here. Isn't that amazing? So it doesn't add to the, I just think it adds to like the handmade nature of it. Now it is a mistake, so I'm not giving myself any excuses. I just think that it's so cool how everything we do, it's just that little touch. There will never be another one like it. So this one I used some threads that I've used years ago on some tea towels that I made on my rigid heddle loom. This is the same warp, so it's the same threads that were used with this, but I just used some darker threads, and that's how it turned out. Isn't that cool? There's lime green, magenta, this purple, you can see this darker purple. And so not necessarily colors I would choose, but I wanted to use up some bobbins. So that was really cool. I really love playing with how color interacts. And so you can see all those reed marks going through here. And this cotton, this is 8-2 cotton. And I think I've shown you, you can probably see, I'm just gonna tip you up, all of those yarns up there, all those threads. Those are all, most of those are 8-2 cotton, which is like a really, I don't know if you're a knitter, it would probably be like, you know, half a fingering weight. So it's pretty thin. But because it's cotton, it's unmercerized, so it's just a really absorbent cotton. A lot of times these reed marks I think will wash out if you're using a different fiber, but in this cotton I think it was just, they just stayed, which is fine. So that was my lavender warp pattern. I used lavenders, pinks, whites, grays, and that was really fun. I was kind of tired of the pastels by the time I was done with this project. And so I had this color in my mind, and it was about the time for last month's update. And I had dyed Peachy Day, which is one of the pineapple yarn colorways I've had for a long time. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I wove some coordinating dish towels? And so I did. I found some of my 8-2 cotton, and then also some, it's like a cotton and linen blend, which was a 22-2 cotton, which is even thinner. It's pretty thin. And I wove these dish towels, which I love these. These also have a couple of mistakes, but they are way better than my lavender dish towels. They're so drapey. They're so soft. And the mistakes don't, it's really just design issues. So for instance, if you see up close, I did 2 strands of this orange color, But right here, see how it's split? I did not have those go through the same slot in the reed. So that was really disappointing because that was the way, this is the way they should look with that cute little houndstooth pattern in the middle of each cross. But I didn't know it would make that much of a difference when I threaded it. And it would have been fine the way I calculated it. However, I kind of got a wild hair on this project. I thought, you know, because it takes so long, it takes a really long time to warp floor looms, much longer than a rigid huddle loom. And I thought, well, what if I create a warp and then I just tie it onto the old warp, and then basically all I have to do is everything's tied on. I don't have to rethread the heddles. I don't have to rethread the reed. Like, everything is all good. It's all set because there's already a warp on there. I ran into a lot of issues with that, and it ended up taking twice as long to do it. And I just thought, you know what, it is not worth it, especially when I'm just doing plain weave and the threading is very simple. So, so one mistake I did on this, I'm really disappointed because I really like these towels, is that I missed a warp thread here. So you can see a flaw right there, which is too bad. It doesn't affect the usability of these towels, and they're just so nice. I love them. So that's the pattern I was going for, is this cool plaid color. Like, it's turquoise, sage green, peach, and then with those pops of bright orange. Aren't those pretty? I just think those are like so pretty and springy. And then I did a few more, and I just kind of varied which warp threads I used. Like for this one, I think this one was only turquoise. I think I only wove on the turquoise, and I can tell because this turquoise is so solid here. But look at the turquoise and the peach, how they mixed together and created this color. That is so neat, isn't it? So then I also did the cross striping, so it gets those cool houndstooth patterns in the middle. Oh, I just love that. That was just so, so pretty. So I threaded this at 18 ends per inch again, but I did not beat as hard. And I also had, the peach was a Jeny, a cotton and linen blend, which I think is a 22-2 cotton. And I think it's slightly thinner than an 8-2. So these are just very, very, very soft, very absorbent. They just feel really absorbent. So I was happy with these, except for those few mistakes. And my selvages look amazing. Like, they just look so good. I gotta show this off a little bit. I mean, I was pretty proud of that. I felt like they were just good all the way through. So that's another plaid with alternating the different colors as I went. And then this one, I think this one's peach all the way through. Let's see. Yes, this one I wove with the peach all the way through, so you can see those the peach warp lines really stand out. But then the sage green is a little more muted. The turquoise really popped, even with the peach being woven on it. But you can see how cool is that blend? Oh, I love that. This warp I didn't get super tired of weaving on, I think because it was such a bright color. And I'll show you what I did at the end, which was so great. So here's another one. And I think this one is sage green. And if you are a weaver, if you're into the 8-2 cotton, this was the color. The sage green is called Seaton, S-E-A-T-O-N. Now this one I did alternate. Let's see, it looks like I did turquoise, sage green, turquoise, sage green, all the way through. No peach, just turquoise and sage green. I thought that turned out really pretty. And then of course the orange as well. Very pretty. So then I had some more bobbins that I wanted to use up, and I had lavender, I had gray from the last project. So every inch I changed color thereabouts. I did use some up and it wasn't exactly an inch. Look how gorgeous this one is. Isn't it beautiful? I was so pleased with how I had a pink in there and then a lavender, like a pinky purple. So I think, yes, this one is the lavender. Look how pretty that is. And then I think let me show you where the pink is. I had a darker purple here, and then I think the pink's hard to see, it's so pale. This is, and I think in, it's called rose pink. That's its actual, or rose pale maybe. I thought this one was awesome. I loved this one. It was more time consuming, obviously more labor intensive to change every inch, but how fun is that? I thought that was really, really fun. And then I just had a little bit of the warp left over, so I just did a little cloth. Just a little guy. And I really like the that darker purple. I think it might be lavande, so like a lavender or lilas, which is lilac. They're French names, so the Maurice Brassard 8-2 cotton. But I really like this lavender. I never would have thought putting lavender with sage green, peach, turquoise. Like, look at this. This has got to be in a future weave. Look at this. Here's the turquoise, and then here's the turquoise with the lavender. Gorgeous. Wow, I love those. So I don't know what this is going to become. I have no idea. So that was my Peachy Day towel run. I don't know if I'm going to put any of these in the shop just because of the missing warp thread. I'm not sure yet. Let me go get what I just finished. I just pulled another set off the loom. So I literally just pulled these off the loom yesterday. And actually my daughter did it. I gave her the honor because it's really fun. So I have this huge pile of fabric right now. And that's what it is. It's just fabric because it hasn't been shrunk or cut apart or anything. So let me find, this is the end, and I'll just show you what it is. My daughter, who is 11, I knew I was going to have just a bit of the warp left, and I really like to give my kids a chance to try out all of these different things because you never know what someone's really going to love and what's really going to spark their interest, and they kind of just get hooked on, you know? So I always have them try spinning, try knitting, crochet, weaving, all those things. So I let my 11-year-old weave from here to the end, and then she decided she wanted fringe. I don't know how well that fringe is going to hold up in the wash, but she can dream. It's okay. So this is different. Look at this yarn. This is the warp yarn. Look at that texture. How beautiful is that? This is a cotton boucle, and I set it at 12 ends per inch, so a lot less warp threads than the 8-2 cotton. And with this project, the warp, or the weft, was both that cotton boucle, which is a little thicker, and then I also used an 8-2 cotton, and I don't know if I used any of that cotton linen, which is a 22-2. I just tried all kinds of things, and I don't know how they're going to turn out. So I belong to, or subscribe to, the Jeny Stafford school, and I'm kind of like loosely going through her lessons. I first signed up in maybe, I don't know, 2021, around there, 2020, when I bought my first loom in 2020, I think, and then subscribed to her school. It's excellent. It's so, so good. But I didn't keep it because she focuses mostly on floral looms. And so I knew when I purchased this, I was like, I have to subscribe again because she's such a good teacher. She goes through color theory and she has projects that you can work on. So this one was one of her projects in her online, she calls it an online guild. And these were cotton boucle towels. And these colors, I'm sure, are so different than what I normally would choose, and they are. But I wanted these for my kitchen. So yes, I primarily did these for myself, but I have oak cabinets and it's very warm. I have a lot of warm tones in my house and I just really love these. I thought they were great. So I picked really warm tones. So you can see like beige. This is, you know, the official colors are cayenne, rust. So you can see those two. One's kind of red, one's definitely a rust color. Let's see, beige, obviously the black, which is really cool. It kind of gave like a buffalo plaid aesthetic, I felt like, which I wasn't going for, but they're kitchen towels, they're fine. And it gave me a chance to work with the cotton boucle, which I liked. I love the A2 cotton though. It's really fun. And what I do on this is I was just using A2 cotton for the selvages, and then I take one thicker yarn, this is like a fingering weight yarn, and just put one strand through it, and then when I go to finish my towels, I pull this out and it leaves a channel, and then I put a stitch on my sewing machine around the channel on both sides, and then through that channel I can cut. And so that's how it's secure. I hem all of my towels before I wash them as well, and that's always worked really well for me. So this one I made larger sections, and I want to say, let's see, I think I divided this into thirds, and I tried to go light to dark. So I did white, and then this was maybe natural. I think it might have been called natural, and then this one was called beige. So it really toned down the colors. I like that one. I thought that one looked good. I was really leaning into what she teaches on her guild about. She's really big into division of space, the Fibonacci sequence, which is, you know, you can't beat nature. If the nature's organized according to the Fibonacci sequence, like weaving's probably going to work out that way too. So that's why the last towel I divided into thirds. That's why through this whole, everything's divided into fifths. The warp's divided into fifths. And so let's see, what did I do with this towel? I divided everything, I don't know, I kind of went crazy with this towel. I thought maybe I had done thirds with this one, but I don't think I did. I did, you know, divided this, and then I just decided to do this. That's pretty cool. Okay. I don't really remember what I did on this because I've already wound a warp and I'm warping up the next project. So sometimes it's hard to remember what I did. And then this one I played with doing 3 picks of one color and then 1 pick of another color. And I thought that was really nice, but it's very time consuming. And I like to just weave. I love for it to go fast. So that one you can see I put a black stripe right in the middle, and that one's completely symmetrical with the 3-in-1 pattern here, a big block of black. And I did a lot of, I think it's the darker beige in the middle of all this. I did some more squares here. It looks like I did some, started with black and went through all colors again. And then this is where I started to do the 8-2 cotton. And I don't know, I'm assuming that it'll turn out fine. I've never done this before. I've never woven with cotton boucle, so I don't know how these are going to turn out because they're not washed. But what I did is I grabbed, I don't think this is the cotton and linen. I think this is an 8-2 cotton. So what I did with this is I picked some different colors. I did white, maybe natural, yeah, white and natural, I think. White, salmon, natural, salmon, white, natural, or white, peach, or salmon, and natural. I don't know what I was doing, but I was just doing the squares and measuring as I went. And then to divide each color, I did the cotton boucle between each one. So this is 8-2 cotton in the weft, and then I did the cotton boucle to divide it. And I think it's gonna turn out really cool, like a cool texture, because the 8-2 cotton is so smooth. And I don't know, I don't have a cone of it available, but it's very, very thin cotton yarn. And of course the boucle, you can tell. Here's some 8-2 cotton ends. And then you can see it kind of compared to the boucle. Hopefully that's a good example. So I don't know, we might, this might turn out to be like the most amazing texture, but I love peach, and I loved it combined with some of these rusty colors. So let's see. Rust was definitely my favorite color in this whole warp, but look at the peach and the rust mixed together. I think that's so beautiful. Y'all know I love warm colors, and I love oranges, and I have a place in my heart for all colors, but I really like those. And then it looks like this one I was using up all the rest of my boucle bobbins. So this is just kind of all over the place. And then I had, I did the same as the 8-2 cotton peach towel that was divided with black, but instead I divided this one with, I think it was the natural shade, so you can see that is a cotton boucle right there. So I really like how that turned out. That's very pretty and light and airy. I really like that. And then I did one towel here that is entirely peach. So no stripes at all. Just did it all the way down. I think I might have done 2 of those. This is a very long warp compared to my other towels. It was like 10.5 inches or 10.5 yards. And I just felt like this one was kind of going on and on as well. And then this is the one my daughter wove. I think she did a pretty good job too. I mean, she wasn't beading. She was beading very evenly. Her selvages look pretty good, I think, especially for that boucle yarn. I mean, it's nubby, it's uneven, so I don't know how good your selvages really can look on with this yarn, but I think she had a great time. So, so that was fun. So that's my latest project. So that is, I have to hem all of these now, and which doesn't take long. It's great. It's just so fun to be able to weave all of this, and I wanted to do this for such a long time, and I'm glad that I made the decision to get a floor loom now, because I've been waiting. I feel like I've been waiting for a long time to take the plunge, I guess. But this baby wolf loom, maybe I should do a little tour at some point. This video is already getting too long, so I'm not going to go into it a ton, but you can tell it's very small and it folds up. So it's only, I think it's only 18 inches deep when it folds up. And it's very, as far as a floral loom goes, it's lightweight. So it fits into the corner of this room really nicely. I move it away from the wall if I need to do some threading or something. It has 6 treadles and 4 harnesses, so I can't do a lot of complicated patterns, but I'm not really interested in that right now, and I knew from my rigid heddle days that wasn't really what I was interested in. I really want to weave kitchen towels. That's really all I want to do. And this is also only 24 inches wide. So at least the weaving area is only 24 inches wide. So it's really narrow, you know, narrow as compared to some floor looms. So it's perfect for what I want to do right now. And, you know, maybe someday I'll upgrade and maybe not. It's kind of nice to have something like this that was simple, and I don't feel, I think if I had a floor loom that cost 3 times as much, because that's the one that I want is probably 3 times, I think it's about 3 times as much as this one cost, I would feel really bad about not using it a lot and not, you know what I mean? It's still a really hefty investment, but I think that because it's more simple and it's smaller and there's less going on with it, that I'll probably use it more often, honestly. So that's really all I have to share with you this week. I'm getting ready for the shop update, which is next Friday, May 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at pineappleyarn.com. I already mentioned that I have Advent pre-orders in the shop in case you're interested. Yeah, it'll be great. I am possibly going to put some dish towels in the shop next week. So keep an eye out for those. I'm not really sure if I will. I may. I'm working on one right now that would coordinate really nicely with my May 2025 colorway. So I just think that'd be so much fun if I could get some dish towels into the shop, and they're so beautiful. They're just such a nice thing. They make such a great gift as well. Make a great Mother's Day gift, honestly. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you like this episode, I'd love if you give it a thumbs up, subscribe. You can catch me on Instagram, and hopefully I'll be more consistent about uploading videos this month. Hopefully it won't run away from me like this past month did. So I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.